All right, ladies and gentlemen, now we're back in business with a showdown between the Warriors of Chaos, who shall be led by Prince Sigvald. And today, my friends, we face off against the mighty Dawi, who shall be led by a Rune Lord. So certainly should be quite a bit of fun. And I have to admit, the entire time I was playing this game against Grombrindle, I thought this was a Thorgrim. Like 100% I thought it was Thorgrim. But now I know it's a Rune Lord. Should be quite a bit of fun. So in the front line here, 4 groups of Chaos Warriors with great weapons. And these guys, of course, are a pretty good choice against Dawi. I mean, Chaos Warriors in general are just very cost effective and some of the better units on the roster. So these guys, 36, 32, 38, they can trade very effectively against pretty much all Dwarf infantry. And yeah, they just do a great job. So in total, I have 4 of those bad boys. Now I have to say here, I do have a Hell Cannon in the corner of the map. And this play here is very heavily inspired. And I want to give a shout out to my son, Herbert Walker, because we played a series actually. And I can't remember who I was. But he was Chaos, I think I was Skaven or something, and he had the Hell Cannon on this exact map hidden like this. So typically Hell Cannons are very risky against Dwarves because of cannons, right? So the cannon can shoot, it can trade more effectively against the Hell Cannon, and you lose it and it's a huge loss. But on this map, there's a really kind of a cheeky ridge here. And any map that has like terrain features like this, you can use it this way. But the Hell Cannon can hide from the line of sight of the cannon and shoot up and over the hill since it's more like a mortar. So very cool stuff. Thanks to my son for that, reminding me of that cool feature here on this map. But Chaos Warriors, Prince Sigvald obviously is not a great pick against Dwarves. I just kind of, I'm on a Sigvald kick right now. You know, I played the campaign, I had a great time with him. So I was like, he deserves some, justice here. And, he's a pretty good duelist. He can probably fight Rune Lords and Thanes and some of the Dwarf Lords and things like that. He regenerates, he's very cheap, and he allows you to spend more money on other things in your army. So we'll see how the Dark Prince does. 2 Manticores up in the sky, just in case Gromby went hard with like 3 or 4 Gyrocopters. I wanted to have something to keep him honest. And just to further reinforce my counter against Gyros, I do have Marauder Horsemen with throwing axes. Up in the trees here, I do have the Demon's View, so a lot of you guys might be asking, why am I bringing Forsaken against Dwarves? It seems kind of silly, right? They have low AP and they're pretty weak themselves and are squishy in combat. But the reason why you bring them is to deal with Slayers. So you run the Forsaken up and around the back, and most Dwarf players always defend their backline with Slayers. So if you can get the Demon's View on top of Slayers, it's a very cost-effective trade. Chaos Warriors and, or Chaos Chariots, excuse me. I think 1 here and 1 on the far side, and a Deathcaster as well. Just in case he brought elite troops, having Fated Boon is actually pretty good against Ironbreakers. So for Gromby's army, he does have a front line of the Dwarf Warriors, a secondary line here of the Thunders. It looks like 4 in total, 2 Iron Drakes and Trollhammer Torpedoes, and more Longbeards in the back, and also a cannon guarded by Giant Slayers. So certainly a very scary army, tons of powder, and it's going to be tough to approach. Hopefully the Hell Cannon can get some value in this game, and if not, I'm going to be in some trouble. So now you can see the Chaos Forces are fanning out. The Demon's View have emerged from the tree line, and you can see his cannon here can't really get line of sight. So Grombrindle is actually moving his entire army to try and reface, and you can see the cannon is being pushed this way to try and be able to reach my Hell Cannon. But if he does that, I'll simply move the Hell Cannon up and behind this hill here, and it should be relatively safe. So Hell Cannon shot's still ripping in. Definitely going to start shooting at his Longbeards and or his Thunders, because the Dwarf Warriors aren't really worth shooting at. And a pretty square hit, takes out 5 models and also does some really good HP damage. And of course, Dwarves, aside from Felix, or having Felix in your army, have no way of healing any of their stuff. Hell Cannon's still going strong, another shot missing right there. And the Chariots and the Forsaken just getting around, taking my time really, because the Hell Cannon is getting good value. I don't need to rush this engagement. Granted, his cannon can still do some really good damage against my Chariots, but the Chariots are on the far side here. And if you keep riding circles around cannons, it takes a while for them to actually switch and shoot. And one of the things that's been really good here in the early game is the fact that the cannon hasn't really got much value. But it looks like for the first time in the game, he is able to draw line of sight with a cannon, and he is going to be shooting at my Hell Cannon here. So I got to respect that. I mean, that's a ton of damage. You can see 1 cannon volley, just an absolute punishment. So from here, I actually use the Blood ability. And we're going to be getting them and getting the speed buff and pushing it up the hill and trying to get away, which is pretty hilarious. So the Manticores I thought about coming in, but I realized too late that his guns were going to be able to rotate pretty quickly. I thought about sending them in as a distraction, flying overhead, but I didn't. I thought that was Thorgrim, and a Rune of Wrath and Rune comes in and slows down the Master Rune, and he's probably going to rampage this Manticore, to be honest, and that's a really bad loss for me. The Manticore is going to be getting pulled into his forces into Iron Drakes, into Thunders, probably attacking these infantry, and honestly, yeah, just horrible situation all around, but very well played to him. A very good pick right there. He did a great job. On that same note, the Demon's View are running around the back. Chariots are getting ready as well. Chaos Warriors on the flanks. Just kind of getting ready to take the fights where I can. We do also have the Marauder Horsemen peeling in here to get some throwing axes against the Giant Slayers. But for the most part, he's getting a much better initial engagement. I've lost this Manticore more or less. Granted, it's down to half health. However, not Trollhammer Torpedo, but the Trollhammer Hell Cannon. But the Hell Cannon has hammered the Trollhammers and has done some pretty good damage across the board. So here, we're going to be getting the Demon's View and pulling back, trying to avoid the Longbeards, just trying to Tokyo drift around and get into the squishy parts of his army. Chaos Warriors are now descending from the hills, going to be taking this engagement versus Longbeards, who do get the countercharge, so a very good reaction from him. And I actually don't know how this goes. I think Chaos Warriors do win that fight head-to-head, but it's a very bloody attrition-based fight. Anyways, Demon's View get hammered. I mean, just destroyed by these Iron Drakes, but it does buy some time for my Chariot to get in there, so now is the time where we punch back. I use Fate of Una here on the Thunders to try and wear them down, and the Chariots have now gotten into the gun line. So this is where it starts to get a little bit better for Chaos, but so far, the early stages of the game have been very messy. So I'm really just trying to make a conscious effort to shut down all the gun pieces here. You can see the Chariot comes from this side. The Demon Spew, of course, took a huge beating, but the Marauder Horsemen with throwing axes are going to come in as well, start hammering these guys down. And I basically figured, let's Fate of Una them, get the throwing axes in there, finish them off, and then chase them off the battlefield. So Fate of Una still really good against dwarves. I think it's quite useful. Sigvald, unfortunately, though, taking a lot of damage, fighting against these dwarf warriors with great opens, and also taking some of the Trollhammer fire. But the Dark Prince is here, he's regenerating, and he should be able to out-heal the DPS that dwarf warriors can put on him. Assuming there's no other shots coming in, but it looks like the Trollhammers were hitting him pretty hard. On that same note, the Demon Speed do come back. Forsaken are really quick. They can catch people off guard with almost 50 speed, and they are able to get in and shut down the cannon. Now, there are Slayers nearby, but that's exactly what I want. I want Demon Speed to be fighting the Slayers. It's a good situation for them. They have high DPS against the very low armor of the Slayers and low melee defense. Granted, one match score is Rampage. If we take a look at the battlefield, Chaos Warriors on the flanks are defeating the Longbeards. It's pretty standard stuff. That usually happens. In the back, my Hell Cannon's still shooting, and I also left some Chaos Warriors back there in reserve, which was kind of a mistake. Should have pulled them up, but nonetheless, I will have them for later in the game, potentially. And here, the match score is back. Both match scores are actually still functional, so even though they did take some damage, neither of them were really finished off. And the Dwarves are starting to have some trouble keeping up with all the Chaos pressure. The Chariots are running amok, basically. Horsemen are back here. Hell Cannon's still dropping some huge bows, and the Manticores over here are shutting down the Thunders. And the Chaos Warriors, like I said, are winning their fights. Granted, he was able to take out that Chaos Chariot, but that coming back should be quite useful. Bounce Fire is very even. It's honestly a dead even game. He has a nice little pocket of strength here, breaking off my Chaos Warriors with the Giant Slayers and doing some big old damage there to the Chaos Chariot. But Sigvald, the Dark Prince, thirsts. He's getting in there, trying to claim some souls for Slaanesh. We'll see if he can. And yeah, he's going to be pretty tanky. I mean, the Rune Lord certainly has bad AP values, and this is what Sigvald's good at. He's really good at tanking and occupying things, and our second Fate of Una is going to be going down on the Giant Slayers. I know if I can get rid of the Giant Slayers, I'll be okay. Chariots cycle charging here into the Iron Drakes. Chariots, of course, the bane of dwarves. Might be doing a bit of a charge into Giant Slayers, but I was trying to pull through, but I think I got stuck there, and I probably will lose a Chariot. Over here, the Dwarf pieces are pushed off. The cannon is completely shattered, and also the Thunders here are pushed off as well. Marauder Horsemen doing a great job of chasing off units that are routing and making sure they don't come back. So the balance of power is pretty even at this point, a little bit in my favor. Here, the Demon Spew proving to still be invaluable, taking out a cannon, chasing down Thunderer pieces. He might be able to actually get this Feral Manticore. The Trollhammer Torpedoes ripping some huge shots, really nice firepower from these Trollhammers, and also the Dwarven Thunderers standing shoulder to shoulder and banishing the Foul Heretics back to the Chaos Wastes. This Manticore is broken, probably going to run off the map. These Warriors are broken as well. And these are Longbeards with 50 models. They should be able to beat these Chaos Warriors in the high ground. So as far as the map goes, this is really his pocket of strength here. He has some pretty good units. He's got the Slayer screening. And the Rune Lord is doing okay. Again, I thought it was Thorgrim the whole fight, and I was like, oh man, I gotta keep Sigvald away from him, but I should have left Sigvald actually beating him down. Sigvald here, taking some shots. He does have silver shields and regeneration, but I do turn my back here. I was trying to, get behind the Chaos Warriors, so I don't know if that was the best call, but nonetheless should be okay. We do also have the Demon Spew peeling back in. Extremely swift Forsaken with 46 speed, going to be charging in, and should be able to make some really good contact here with the Dwarf Warriors. Yeah, those bad boys hit really hard, and they also lower the melee attack of nearby troops. The first of, perhaps the first kind of a hint about what Nurgle will do in Game 3 with melee attack debuffs and things like that. Kind of like tabletop anyways, with minus to hit modifiers. But nonetheless, the Thunderers are able to remain safe using a Master Rune of Wrath and Ruin to slow down the Forsaken, pulling in some Giant Slayers, and Sigvald is really just in a grindy fight right now. He's fighting in the pits versus some miners with their pickaxes, but Sigvald has been healing this whole game, and he's a little bit close to his healing cap. It probably still does have another 800 HP to heal. Now, the Bounce Fire is coming in my favor as Manticores and Chariots do come back here. You can see we do have the Manticore jumping in, going after the missile pieces, and I know that if I can finish the missile pieces, we're going to be 100% okay. And it looks like he has some wild Dwarf Warriors sent back here to actually attack my Hell Cannon. And this was actually when I realized this game that I had some Chaos Warriors back here. I was like, oh crap, I have some Chaos Warriors. So the Chaos Warriors are going to engage and finish those guys off. And back in the pits, the Manticore charging in. So the Iron Drakes down to 19 models. Chaos Warriors are piling back in. Sigvald in good shape, and Sigvald's been a pretty sticky threat this whole game. That's what she said, and definitely getting in there and shield bashing some of these Thunders with a nice splash attack right there. Chaos Warriors coming in pretty good numbers. They are very tired, but have 62 models. And honestly, this one group of Chaos Warriors with Sigvald's backup might be able to win this entire fight here. They are very, very good against armored troops, especially against like miners and lower tier troops like that. As long as someone can kind of stay on top of the Thunders, aka Sigvald, we should be okay. Manticore and Chariot Goon Squad able to finally finish off the Iron Drakes here on the far side. So those guys are shaken. They're terrified at the moment, so they will come back, but we have plenty of mobility to probably chase them off. And at this point, you know, when I was in the game, I was a little bit stressed. I was like, oh man, he still has some stuff left. But then I was like, oh yeah, the Chaos Warriors are coming. A full health group of 75 Chaos Warriors is going to be some serious punch. We do also have the Chaos Sorcerer of Death, who's no slouch. Chaos casters, compared to like Empire casters and casters from other factions, are pretty strong. They have good combat stats, they have good armor, and are pretty meaty for sure. It was one of the first things I noticed when I started playing Total War Warhammer 1. I was like, damn, the casters for Chaos are quite good. And you know, really the ultimate downfall, though, of my opponent here is going to be the Chaos Dwarfs coming in. So we have 6 Chaos Dwarfs. The DLC is confirmed. These coming in with the cone head. He's got a little bit of a cone on his head right there. It's going to be charging in. And the Chaos Dwarfs, you know, looking for blood. 18 melee attack, 14 melee defense. Come on, that's not bad. But nonetheless, the Rune Lord here is able to break my strength. The Chaos Warrior is still fighting. Like I said, able to grind down the Giant Slayers as well as the Longbeards, doing a great job. But he is able to get some of the missiles online with these Iron Drakes, but I have troops coming back everywhere. Should be able to swarm those guys. And now the Chaos Dawi are in combat, but about to be bashed by the Dwarf Cousins. Not going to be great for the Chaos Dwarves, but man, I can't wait to actually get like a Chaos Dwarves army. That's going to be so fun. Instead of these Walmart Chaos Dwarves, you can see just being absolutely circle beaten. But honestly, they're lasting a long time. Sigvald's coming in as well to try and rescue his Chaos Dawi brethren. Yeah, how did they not lose more models? They were like surrounded, being beaten on for a long time, but it looks like the Chaos Dwarves are going to win the fight, guys. That's certainly going to put the Dwarves on their back foot. Over here we do have the Chaos Warriors, the Great Opens beating on the Rune Lord. We have the Chaos Sorcerer beating on the Iron Drakes with the Trollhammer Torpedoes, keeping them offline. And it's looking a little bit grim bones for the Dawi at this point. I don't know how they can really come back with Sigvald still healing, back up to almost full. Chaos Warriors are back in business. The characters are chasing down the missile pieces. He does have a couple Iron Drakes, but there's full health groups of Chaos Warriors coming. And yeah, they should be able to get on top of them pretty quick. And that probably will be army losses. Hail to the Dark Prince, baby! As Sigvald is going to be coming in and closing out this game against the mighty Dawi. It was a really good game, though. You know, that was like a 10 or 11 minute game. Sigvald in his Mortal Kombat duel here. Yeah, if only I had noticed this was Rune Lord. Man, I could have gotten him earlier probably, but you know, that's what I get for not paying attention. It was a really good game, though. Very close. I think that he had a much better early game. Able to get my Manticore, able to punish a lot of my troops on the approach. But once we kind of got that timing and swarmed in with everything, there was constantly pressure on all, you know, 5 or 6 of his missile pieces. Like the Chariots, the Manticores, Chaos Warriors, Forsaken, Marauder Horsemen, there was always pressure. And plus the Hell Cannon was also generating some really strong value. And yeah, honestly, I really like his army. It's pretty similar to what I use against Chaos. Granted, I don't use Trollhammer Torpedoes. I often just use Thunders and bring a couple more Slayers to kind of protect. But yeah, it was really good. Great play. Well played to my opponent, Grom Brindle. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this Warriors of Chaos vs. Dwarf game. Once again, hail to the Dark Prince, baby. We'll see you back with more content soon. Take care.